My name is Asif Hussain. I am heading the practice of intelligent automation at Royal Cyber. And today I will talk about how automations are changing and what new scenarios of automations are now we are able to automate with the help of AI in general and generative AI in specific. So, over the years, what we always have been saying that RPA-based automations in specific are best suited for high volume, repetitive, labor-intensive, rule-based and low variance processes. It's still valid, but with the advancement in AI now, it's not necessary to be rule-based. It's not necessary to be low variance anymore. And we are able to handle the processes even which are complex in terms of decision making or in terms of handling the input data that is not really structured. So in general, what robotic process automation based automations are, they are handwork. They can operate your computer. They can operate copy paste. They can extract data. They can type into forms just like your hands do on your keyboard and mouse. But with the help of AI now, you can put head work, decision making into your automations. Why to go with RPA with Gen AI? Where it helps. So Gen AI, we all know that if we ask a question, if we give it a prompt, a lot of times it gives information beyond our scope also. It just goes what it has learned over the internet and comes up. With the help of RPA, we can put context to what we are asking. So as the initial session, the first one about autopilot also mentioned that how we were able to utilize the Gen AI with specific course content, right? Similarly, we can use this RPA technology to give that context, and I'll talk about a couple of scenarios and examples on later slides. We can, with the help of RPA, we can select the right model for Gen AI in different scenarios. So as in the last slide I said, it can be your brain, your automation's brain, and RPA is the muscle doing the automation itself. We can put human in the loop with RPA, so Gen AI in general is whatever it gives, we can put a human to review that in certain cases where we want. So basically there are these three scenarios that how I divide automations with the help of Gen AI. The first scenario is a reader-writer scenario where information is read from certain systems and response after processing through LLM is sent back to certain other systems or the same systems. So for example, this could be a chatbot your customer is interacting with, and the query that you get through chatbot or query that you get on your ticketing system, support system, or your emails is understood by the LLM and fed by the RPA bot to the LLM, and a response is created and sent back to the LLM. So an example could be, in fact, let me talk about the examples on the next slide. Just let me briefly touch that there are two other models that I call them doer and assistant models. Doer actually understands the query that it gets from multiple systems through RPA and performs certain actions on certain other systems. for example, resetting a password. And assistant model does both, performs certain actions and sends response. Let me just briefly touch for an example of each of them. So first one here you can see, it's just a reader writer. For example, you are selling something on Amazon and you have certain products listed on Amazon. Customers are either putting reviews on your products and you want to interact with them. You can put an RPA bot that keeps on reading the comments you're getting and creating responses in the line you wanted to respond to, and using your admin interface for the Amazon, send it back right away to the customer. Or your prospective customer is asking questions about your product and looking at the support material or the product's manuals. Your LLM understands your product and can respond to those queries without a human user to look into it. And all this is actually performed through RPA, reading of the queries and writing back the responses. In doer model, it can be like if you're getting a ticket for a password reset and the RPA reads that ticket and understands that information, that unstructured ticket through LLM, that the customer is asking for a password reset, and it can go ahead and trigger an RPA bot that actually changes the password or resets the password. So there is a actual RPA bot involved that is performing the action, and the LLM is actually just understanding what the intention of the automation is. And here in this scenario, in fact, we did implement this recently for a bank that customer is interacting through a chat bot. And let's suppose a customer says, I see a transaction that I don't recognize, and it's sometimes some fraudulent activity is happening probably. Now, RPA reads that conversation, and through the knowledge base, it sends the knowledge base to the LLM and understands what has to be done in this scenario. And it knows that, okay, card has to be blocked and transaction has to be reversed. Now, there are two different bots that actually do this in different systems, and probably a third one to regenerate a new card. So after understanding the ask through LLM, an RPA bot or 3 RPA bots will be triggered, and all these actions will be taken in 3 different systems, and response will be sent back on the same medium. Let's suppose it was a chat bot. All right, these 3 scenarios that I talked about are utilizing Gen AI during the automation, when automation is doing a task. But Gen AI can also help in developing the automations, and that's what we call an autopilot for developers. So you can just write a prompt and an automation workflow will be created by itself, and you can just tweak it to maybe make it even better, to put some steps there, here and there if you want to, or to configure the systems it is interacting with to provide credentials. So here is this UiPath Studio, which is used mostly, it is the biggest RPA tool available in the market, and I'm going to showcase a capability that it has for Gen AI. And here you can create connectors for your applications your automation is going to talk to. If I go to the generate automations section, I can just write a prompt of my automation that I have written already for saving some time, and I just paste it. It says create automation that downloads email, PDF attachment invoice and logs in SAP Coupa to put invoice into it. After this, also update status related to this invoice on Salesforce account. And I just click this. Now, with the help of Gen AI, it understands the context and it will create a workflow and an entire automation that is almost ready to run. I'll just have to plug in the credentials. So here you can see it has listed all the steps that I just verbally wrote, and there's a loop for multiple invoices to process, and it is doing all the things that I wanted it. So it created this workflow on the fly. This automation is just created within seconds. All right, so now I'll just quickly show a demo where intelligently invoice is being processed by this RPA automation. It's a bot that picks up automations, picks up invoices and processes them and matches them with the purchase orders that are approved in the system. And here's what it does. So there is this all right, so there are invoices placed in different folders over the cloud or local computer, received through email or through different mediums like fax, and UiPath's document processing engine picks them up from all these sources and then sends through the integration services to OpenAI to understand what the invoice is about and all the details, all the numbers that it has. UiPath's robot also picks approved purchase orders from the backend, whatever ERP you're using. And it can match, understanding the context from both, that whether the invoice that I'm trying to process matches with any of the purchase orders and all the checks that we need. It can perform, and if everything looks good, it can go ahead with approval of that invoice and processing it for the payment. If something is mismatched, it can go for the action center and bring a human reviewer, a document specialist, to look into it, that what's mismatching. And document specialist can either reject the invoice or accept it. So in most cases, up to 90 or 95% of invoices are automatically processed without a human reviewer to look into it. All right, so let's see how this automation works in the simplest way. So here in one folder, I have 4 invoices. They are in different formats because every organization may have different invoices coming up in different formats. And through AI, it can understand multiple invoice formats and it knows what to read it from. And you can see this is a demo system to show some approved purchase orders that it will go and read from. It can plug into any ERP. And this is the folder where the output will come. There will be an Excel file generated by the automation in the end. We can plug it in with ERP to put the approvals there also. So now the automation is running. It picked up the purchase orders that are approved, and one by one it will pick one invoice at a time. And this is the prompt that it is doing to the OpenAI, and I just, for reference of this demo, I'm displaying it on the screen also, that what it is asking. So it is comparing the context and the context of the invoice as well as the purchase order through LLM and getting the response in a specific format that is structured. And this is the response displayed on the screen. It's too small for you guys to maybe read. And there are 4 invoices that it will process and generate output in Excel file that I will display in the end. And it will have invoice number, purchase order, and other credentials that it reads from the invoice, as well as it will have a reason why it approved or did not approve a particular invoice. So because of the LLM, it understands context and it can comment that what part of the 2 documents were mismatching and why it is important to match those. So this still running, and now it's done, and this is the result file created in the same folder, and it has certain details. The last column you can see is the reason that I was talking about. So that was it about the demo.